A woman sent by Satan to ruin your life will be marked by one undeniable thing: deception. She'll draw you in with charm and beauty, only to leave your soul shattered. Ever wonder why some relationships start off promising but quickly spiral into chaos? It's not just bad luck. The enemy has a plan, and it's not random. This is something far deeper, a scheme designed to pull you away from everything that truly matters. If you want to avoid falling into this trap, you need to know the signs, and you need to act before it's too late. Imagine a woman who seems perfect, yet there's something unsettling beneath the surface. The beauty catches your eye, but it's the emptiness, the manipulative spirit that will slowly begin to control your heart. What does it feel like to be led down a path where you're no longer in charge of your own life? How do you recognize the red flags before they pull you into the storm? Stay with me, because by the end of this you'll know exactly what to look for and how to protect your life from this kind of destruction. Don't let Satan's plan unfold without you knowing how to fight back. 1. External beauty and inner ugliness. There's a dangerous myth we've all been told, that beauty is everything. We've been trained to look for it, to chase it, to make it the standard by which we measure value. But here's the harsh truth: external beauty is often nothing more than a mask, and behind that mask there can be something far darker than we ever imagined. Have you ever met someone who on the surface seemed perfect? The kind of person who commands attention when they walk into a room, who knows exactly how to flatter and charm. At first it feels like you've found the one, someone who ticks all the boxes. But then over time something strange begins to unfold. A hint of manipulation here, a lie there. And suddenly you realize that the beauty you once admired is simply a cover for an ugliness that's hard to ignore. This is the danger of being led astray by outward appearances. Beauty can draw you in, but it's the inner character that truly defines someone's value. You see, a woman who is sent by Satan to destroy your life won't just come across as evil or malicious from the start. No, she will appear to be everything you ever wanted, until you begin to see the cracks. The scriptures speak clearly about this. Proverbs 7 describes a woman who's seductive, who dresses to kill, and who walks a path of rebellion. She's the kind of woman whose exterior is intoxicating, luring you in with everything you think you want. But as you get closer, as you let her into your life, you begin to see her true nature, the spiritual poison lurking beneath the surface. And it's not just about physical attraction, it's the heart that drives her actions, the deep-seated rebellion that can wreck a man's life. When a man becomes entangled in a relationship based solely on external beauty, he opens himself to the danger of losing everything that matters. Satan doesn't want you to be led by wisdom, discernment, or godly counsel. He wants you to be blinded by appearances. When lust takes over, all logic and reason go out the window. It's like inviting the enemy in without even realizing it. And the worst part, you think you're making the choice, but really, it's the enemy who's manipulating your heart, guiding your decisions, leading you further into destruction. This isn't just about sexual temptation either. It's about the way that inner ugliness can subtly manifest in more destructive ways. A woman sent to distract you from your purpose will be marked by charm, yes, but also by manipulation and a lack of moral compass. Her beauty becomes a tool to control you, to keep you emotionally and spiritually enslaved. And when you're in that space, you're too weak to make the right choices. Your life begins to spiral, not because of some external catastrophe, but because your internal peace is shattered. The enemy knows exactly how to exploit this weakness. He doesn't always attack you with overt evil. Sometimes he uses what seems good on the surface, beauty, grace, charm, to pull you into sin. It's the perfect setup. A man who is driven by external desires, and a woman who knows how to use that to her advantage. That's why Proverbs 30 warns us, charm is deceptive and beauty does not last, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be greatly praised. This is the antidote. It's not about rejecting beauty altogether. It's about understanding that beauty is only skin deep. What matters more than physical appearance is the fear of the Lord, a deep respect and reverence for God. A woman who walks in this fear will not use her beauty to manipulate or control. She will instead use her heart, her soul, her life to build up, not tear down. So the next time you're drawn to someone because of their external appearance, take a step back. Look beyond the surface. Watch how they live, how they treat others, how they speak about their faith. True beauty is not about how well someone can dress, or how perfect their smile is. True beauty comes from a heart that seeks God, and lives according to His ways. External beauty can be a trap, a snare set to pull you away from the life you were meant to live, and once you're caught, it's often too late to untangle yourself. But if you learn to see beyond the surface, if you look for the character and godliness that lie beneath, you'll find the strength to avoid falling for the lies and the destruction they bring. 2. Opposition to your purpose. You ever feel like you're on a mission, trying to work towards something bigger, but then there's that one person who just doesn't get it? Instead of supporting you, they seem to pull you off track, almost like they're pushing you away from your purpose. You work hard, you stay focused, but somehow distractions keep finding their way into your life. This isn't just coincidence, it's part of a plan. A woman sent to ruin your life won't just distract you, she'll oppose your very mission. The enemy knows that when a man is on purpose, when he's driven by a higher calling, he's dangerous. A man with a clear mission is nearly unstoppable. He's rooted in something far more substantial than fleeting desires. But Satan, he's not interested in you becoming the man you're meant to be. No, he wants to keep you wandering, disconnected from your purpose, because a purposeless man is an easy target. Think about the story of King Ahab and Jezebel. Ahab had a role to play, a kingdom to rule, but Jezebel came into the picture and suddenly everything shifted. She didn't just stand by his side, she actively opposed his purpose, leading him into evil and idolatry. In 1 Kings 21:2 it says, "There was none who sold himself to do what was evil in the sight of the Lord like Ahab, whom Jezebel his wife incited." Jezebel wasn't just a passive partner, she was a force of destruction, guiding Ahab away from his calling and towards spiritual ruin. It wasn't just that Jezebel didn't support Ahab. She actively sought to manipulate him, to get him to abandon his mission, to distract him from his responsibilities, and to twist his focus onto everything that was wrong. She wasn't just a bad influence, she became the very reason for his downfall. That's exactly what Satan wants. He's not content with just distracting you, he wants to derail your life completely. A woman who opposes your purpose won't necessarily do it with obvious hostility. It won't always be a loud confrontation. More often than not, it's subtle. It might look like constant criticism, undermining your efforts, or creating chaos where there was once peace. It's the constant pull away from the very thing you're called to do. It's convincing you that your work is meaningless, that your mission is unimportant, and that your purpose doesn't matter. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the focus shifts from your calling to something else, something worldly, something temporary. When you're not focused on your purpose, you become vulnerable. You stop making decisions based on your higher calling, and you start making decisions based on what feels good in the moment, what gives you temporary relief. And that's exactly when you get off track. Satan doesn't need to destroy you all at once. He knows he can wear you down, keep you distracted, until you're so far off your mission that you can't remember where you started. The most dangerous part of this is how it happens. You're not always aware of it in the moment. The manipulation is disguised, hidden beneath the surface of what seems like support or love. But in truth, it's undermining the very foundation of who you are and what you're supposed to do. To avoid this trap, you must be clear about your purpose, know what you're called to do, and never let anyone or anything pull you away from that. A woman who truly wants the best for you will support you in your mission, not hinder it. She'll be your partner, not your distraction. If she's constantly trying to pull you off track, to move you away from what you know is right, you have to recognize that for what it is, a tactic of the enemy to steal your destiny. So ask yourself, do you feel like your purpose is being supported or undermined? Are the people around you helping you fulfill your mission, or are they pulling you away from it, one step at a time? Recognizing the signs is the first step in taking control of your life and staying on the path that leads you to your true calling. 3. Marked by control. You think you're in control, right? But have you ever stopped to wonder if you're really the one steering the ship, or if someone else is pulling the strings? There's a subtle, dangerous kind of manipulation that can slowly take over your life, and it often starts with a woman, someone who appears loving and kind, but underneath the surface there's a different agenda. What starts as affection soon becomes a power struggle, and you find yourself playing a role in someone else's game. It's easy to get caught in the illusion that a woman who seems to care about you, who wants to guide your choices, is just being loving. But there's a dark side to this. In reality, she's not leading you to become the best version of yourself. She's pushing you into submission, into a place where her desires dictate your every move. This isn't about a healthy partnership where both parties contribute equally. This is about control, manipulation, and making you feel like you have no choice but to follow. Think about the relationship between Adam and Eve. It wasn't just about eating a fruit. It was about who was supposed to lead, who was supposed to make the decisions, and who was supposed to obey. The entire foundation of God's plan for relationships was twisted in that moment. Eve was meant to be Adam's helpmate, not the one who pulls him away from obedience. Yet in that moment she took charge and everything shifted. This dynamic isn't just ancient history, it's happening in relationships today. You might think it's harmless, just a woman who has a strong personality, who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to go after it. But there's a fine line between assertiveness and domination. When you find yourself constantly deferring to her will, losing track of your own convictions, and feeling like you're only valuable when you meet her needs, something is wrong. It's not love, it's control. The difference is subtle at first, like a slow burn that starts with small sacrifices. You give in because you don't want to upset her, because she plays on your vulnerabilities or your desires. But over time you realize you've compromised parts of yourself you never thought you'd lose, your confidence, your direction, your identity, and it all started with that one choice, letting her lead, when you were called to lead. God's design for relationships is clear. A husband is called to be the head of the household, leading with love and strength, just as Christ leads the church. and a wife is called to submit, to support, and to respect her husband's leadership. This doesn't mean the husband controls the wife in an authoritarian way, but it means that leadership is a sacred responsibility, one that comes with sacrifice and love. When that order is reversed, when the woman takes the reins and demands control, the entire dynamic shifts. This is where the enemy thrives. When a woman takes control of a man's life, she doesn't just alter his day-to-day choices, she alters the course of his soul. A woman who manipulates, who uses guilt, emotional pressure, or charm to get her way, is a force that will lead a man astray. She may seem sweet, but behind her actions is a quiet, destructive spirit that undermines the very foundation of what God has called you to be. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to give in. Recognizing the signs of control is the first step in taking back your life. It's time to stop being passive. It's time to stand firm in your calling, in your responsibility to lead, not out of arrogance, but out of a desire to walk in God's plan for your life. Don't let anyone take your strength, or pulling you away from obedience to God. Have you ever found yourself torn between following your convictions and the pressure to just let go? To put your faith aside for a moment, for the sake of someone or something that seems more urgent or appealing? That's exactly where the enemy wants you to be, at the crossroads of compromise. It's in these moments that the devil's real work begins. A woman sent by Satan won't come at you with obvious evil. No, she'll come dressed in something far more subtle: charm, affection, and promises of happiness. But make no mistake, her goal is simple: to pull you away from obedience to God. It's never just about one decision, it's about altering your entire path, one small step at a time. She'll start by sowing seeds of doubt, whispering that your beliefs are outdated or that God doesn't really expect so much from you. Maybe she'll suggest that your faith is too rigid, too extreme, and that to be happy, you need to ease up a bit. But here's the truth: compromising on obedience to God isn't the key to happiness, it's the key to destruction. The enemy knows that the fastest way to unravel your life is to disrupt your relationship with God, and he'll use whatever he can, whether it's a seductive lie or a well-meaning push, to make you question your foundation. The moment you allow a woman to convince you that following God's word is too hard or too much, you're on a dangerous path. Consider this: you've spent your life building convictions, standing firm in what's right, walking in the truth of God's word. Now here comes this one person who doesn't just challenge your views but subtly undermines them. The voice inside your head that once screamed "Obey God" becomes quieter, replaced by the soft and dangerous whisper of "Maybe you can just let this one go." The enemy doesn't need to make you abandon everything in one giant leap. He's patient. He'll settle for small, seemingly harmless compromises, convincing you that following your convictions is just too much of a burden. And here's the worst part: when you start allowing those small compromises to pile up, you'll find yourself slipping farther and farther away from the truth. The further you drift from God's voice, the harder it becomes to hear it at all. This is when a man becomes vulnerable, not just to temptation, but to a life filled with regret. A life where he wonders, how did I get here? It's not just about one bad decision. It's about a gradual shift in direction, an erosion of godly standards that seemed so firm at the start. A woman who pulls you away from obedience to God doesn't have to throw you into outright sin. She simply needs to distract you from your mission, diminish your purpose, and lower your standard until you're no longer following God's lead. That's all it takes. There's a way to fight this, and it starts with knowing what's at stake. The enemy's strategy is clear: distract, disarm, and then destroy. But you don't have to fall into this trap. If you are ever in a relationship that pulls you away from God's will, don't let it continue. Don't let the quiet whispers of compromise turn into loud shouts of regret. Stand firm in your faith, and remember, obedience to God isn't just the right choice. It's the only choice that will bring you lasting peace. In the end, the battle you face isn't just about resisting a bad relationship. It's about standing firm in your commitment to God. The enemy's most effective strategy isn't always through direct attacks, but by tempting you to drift away, one small compromise at a time. If you allow yourself to be led by someone who pulls you away from obedience to God, you're not just sacrificing your convictions, you're inviting chaos into your life. The more you stray from God's will, the more vulnerable you become to the enemy's influence. The key to avoiding this trap is knowing where your loyalty lies. Your commitment to God and His Word should be non-negotiable. If a woman or any relationship begins to draw you away from that path, it's time to reassess. A woman sent by Satan may not wear horns, but she'll wear something far more dangerous: subtle manipulation that tempts you to put your faith on the back burner. Your relationship with God is the most important one in your life. No earthly connection, no matter how tempting, should ever cause you to waver in that. When you stand firm in obedience to God, you'll not only protect your heart but also your purpose and destiny. Trust in God's guidance, remain vigilant, and never allow anything or anyone to pull you away from the truth. Stay faithful, and God will lead you to the life He has designed for you, one of peace, purpose, and unwavering strength.